when you finally do discover that, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up or say, I wasted my time with someone. Everyone is there to teach you something. I believe that. And so that's how Free of Fear, Full of Joy came about. I was able to heal, and I started remembering that who I was before this situation had happened in my life. Hello, darlings, and welcome to season 3, episode 1 of Free of Fear, Full of Joy with me, Johari Williams. So I haven't recorded a podcast in a while. I'll get into that later. I wanted to reintroduce myself to my current subscribers and my future subscribers. And since I've had some time, I wanted to refocus on the original thought process between Free of Fear, Full of Joy and me mentally moving away from fear and into joy and confidence. So with that being said, I'm going to go into a short story about how I came about Free of Fear, Full of Joy. So this is many, many, many years ago. I fell in love with my husband. I got that from a friend, which I thought was really cute. And everything was beautiful. We had the relationship that everybody envied. We'd have 2 gorgeous children. And then through circumstances around our family, his behavior changed severely. And I didn't really feel like I was in a relationship with the person that I started out with. And I didn't realize till I was unhappy until my children had said something to me and other friends had said something to me. And I realized I was really miserable. Tried to work through that, tried to, therapy, all the ways it happened. And the relationship did not work. We decided to go our separate ways. And in that time, I had a lot of time to reflect on my life and where I wanted to be. And I created these mantras that formed together become Free of Fear, Full of Joy. And they were about my voice, how I set myself up in situations, how to be more clear in my communication, how to be more joyful and less fearful in the things that I said to people and be more intentional. And so that's how Free of Fear, Full of Joy came about. I was able to heal, and I started remembering that who I was before this situation had happened in my life. And then I started having the time of my life and screaming out Free of Fear, Full of Joy all the time, and became the best version of myself for my family and friends. So that's how that went. I recently have stepped back from Free of Fear, Full of Joy because a lot of things have happened personally for me. And just to be completely transparent, my mother and my husband were suffering from cancer at the same time. So I had to refocus all my energy into supporting them with the recovery and the treatment of the cancer that they've had. And so I didn't have any mental space to be creative. And so I had to step away, and it was hard. It was hard. I had to really stop myself and say, like, listen, you can take a break from something. It doesn't mean that you're quitting. It just means that you're taking a break. So remember that as I talk more, like, it's okay to step away from something and then come back to it and still have the same kind of enthusiasm for it, which I hope you see right now. So I did lose myself for a while. The overwhelming fear of losing my mother and my husband while they went through surgeries and chemo and radiation, and also just learning how to hold my temper in a space of something I could not control. I could not control what happened to them or how their recovery went or any of that. And for someone like me who likes to, be the captain of the ship, that's kind of hard. That's not easy to do, to step back and just support and row the boat and not be able to steer it. Everything came to a screeching halt. Any other priorities, they became my priority, and my family became my priority. And this platform, this podcast, brings me joy. And so being back here is so very exciting. I was nervous. I definitely couldn't eat anything before I got here because it's been a long time since I've been in front of the camera. But now that I'm here, I'm feeling like I never left. I'm like a duck in water right now. I feel amazing. So I just am so glad to be able to interact with all of you darlings. With that being said, I definitely in that moment felt like I should open up to my audience and let them know what's been going on and where I have been. And hopefully you guys all know that sometimes life is lifing and you can't do anything but, get in the, in that tsunami, and then hopefully you survive on the other side. And here I am on the other side sharing this with you and letting you know that things are better for me, better for my family. My husband is recovering well, and so is my mother, and their prognosis is very positive. So, thank you, God, for keeping me and my family safe and healthy. So there's that. I'd also like to thank some people who supported me through all of this. My road dogs, Mikey, Alexis, Latrice, Taya, my Aunt Joyce, who flew in when I couldn't be with my mother and stayed with her an entire time. I also want to thank my children, Omari and Samia, for being there for me and stepping up and supporting and being there for their grandmother and being there for their bonus dad whenever I couldn't do it. I also, and this is important, I want to thank my partner and my director of marketing, Michaela, because when I could not hold it down at all, she held it all down for me for Free of Fear, Full of Joy. She posted, she created things and kept the podcast going when I couldn't even put together a sentence. So thank you, all of you, for being there for me. I want you to know that even in the darkest places, if you can't reach yourself creatively or emotionally, or can't find the mental space to keep going, continue to go towards the light, the positive, and also share with people. Tell them what you're going through. You'll be surprised, because there's that saying that says, real friends walk in when everyone else is walking out. And I experienced that because I wasn't closed off. I didn't just realize, well, what's wrong with her? She don't ever call me back. I said, this is what I'm going through. And these people that I mentioned stepped up and really helped me survive this to get here. So I'm very grateful to that. But remember, stay positive, look towards the light, even if it feels like you don't feel it, or you don't feel like there is lightness. There's always a little spark of light in the dark. So go towards that. I also wanted to say that what I learned in this and was like hope, faith needs action. You can't just sit there and not not rely on your support system, because it's important to be to let people know what you're going through. It keeps you from getting depressed. It keeps you from sinking into that place. I just told my friends and whoever, keep inviting me to things. I might come, I might not, but just keep inviting me to things, because if I have that moment to break free from this, I will come and see you. And you know what? Those were some of the best moments I've had in this whole journey with my husband and my mother during this time. So I'm getting direction from the side. I want to circle back to the people that I thanked, and specifically to my friend Mikey, because when I was really, really dark and upset about, trying to fit in a podcast date and, in between the chemo and the radiation and and the doctor's appointments, I was just very frustrated. And I was talking to her really early in the morning. It was like 5 or 6 in the morning. And I was like, how do I do this? And she was the one that said to me, taking a break from something isn't failure. And everyone needs to know that taking a break from something is not failure. It is, it's hard for someone like me who's hyper-focused. I'm hyper-focused, and I can't walk away until it's done. So that gave me permission to not be so hard on myself in the situation. So again, here I am back with all of you, which is exciting, darlings. So we're going to start introducing some new things, but keeping with the core of what we want to do with the podcast, which is about me sharing my experiences and also showing women of all ages that even through the hardest of times, you can find joy and be free of fear. So free of fear, full of joy is my life motto, and I stick to it always. So we're going to introduce something that's called What Would Johari Say? So we're going to have Michaela ask the questions and I'm going to answer. And guess what? Our website is going to be open for you to put questions in or tell me your story. Maybe we have you on the podcast. Even if you're out of state, we can do like a Zoom thing. That's great. Let's do that. So without further ado, here is What Would Johari Say? Okay, Michaela, what's the first question?
Hey, everyone. So the first question is, what would you do if your partner is not for you? How do you leave them without drama?
It is kind of heartbreaking when you put some time into someone and then you realize like, oh no, how did I miss all these red flags? Maybe I thought they were orange. I don't know. But when you finally do discover that, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up for or say I wasted my time with someone. Everyone is there to teach you something. I believe that because I dated several duds before I met my husband. And I realized each one of them taught me a lesson that made me understand him better. So everyone is a lesson. Think of it that way. Now, leaving without drama. I know a lot of us like drama because we watch a lot of Bravo, Zeus. So we want it to be a spectacle. We want to be able to post it or talk about it on Reddit. But like, one of our hip hop geniuses said, Big Papa, bad boys move in silence and violence. You don't need to say anything. You just need to get your stuff and go. Because when you withdraw your light, your energy, your universe from someone without any drama, it might not happen that day. It might not happen a week from now, but eventually that person will realize what they lost. And why do you need all that drama anyway? You don't need it. You don't need it. You need to preserve. And I know this is a thing, preserve your peace. I was on that a long time ago because the minute a joker was giving me the wrong thing, they think they're not calling me. Then they realize I'm not calling you. And just as a sidebar, I'm sitting having dinner with my family and a ex tries to FaceTime me at my big age. Trying to FaceTime me. I looked at that and I said, oh no. Still trying to get some drama. Still trying to get some feedback. We ain't been together for 13 years, just to give you some clarity. By the way, they always come back. They always come back. Don't take them back. What do you guys call that? Circling the block? Don't spin the block. But you can do it without drama. The thing is, get your stuff, get your peace, move on. I don't need to talk to you about it. We don't need to come to a meeting of minds. We don't need none of that. Get your stuff, move on. Because the best revenge is success. Focus on your goals. Do your self-care and move on. That's my answer.
Next question is, how can you tell if you're truly unhappy in a situation or just tolerating the state that you're in?
So I've been there. Like I said, a lot of times we don't want to listen to the people around us that love us. I had a friend walk in the house with my first husband. Now, this was during Hurricane Katrina. She was going through the worst part of her life. She and her family, who all live in New Orleans, lost everything. She came to my house to stay for a while, in California. And she was around the house one day and she was like, "Hey, wake up. You're not happy. Look around. Look at what's happening over here. Look at what's happening over there." And so that made me pay attention. Now, if you don't have that person in your life and you're surrounded by people who are like, "I'm not going to tell her, I'm not going to tell her," and you're feeling unfulfilled, if you're feeling lonely in a situation, if you're feeling unheard in a situation, baby, you're unhappy. Don't ignore that instinct in the pit of your stomach. Sometimes it even comes to us in a dream. He might be dreaming about something and be like, "Oh, that was weird." It's your brain trying to tell you something. Follow that feeling and find your happiness, find your light, find your rainbow, whatever it is. But don't stay there too long. Don't stay in that unhappy situation too long. Find your way out. The first thing when other divorced women come to me, or women who are thinking about divorce, come to me and say, "What made you feel like I couldn't stay here anymore?" I said, "I felt like I was drowning. I felt like I couldn't go another day in that situation. I had to leave it because if I didn't, I was going to die." I said, "If you don't feel like that, you're not ready to leave. You need to figure out some other things. You're not truly unhappy. Truly unhappiness feels like you're just drowning. You're just drowning." So that's my answer. That's it for What Would Johari Say? Please send us some feedback to our website and to our Instagram. You can also comment under this on YouTube. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your situation. We'd love to answer questions about that because I want more people to go towards the light and feel free of fear, full of joy. All right. So I'm going to transition completely because I want to talk about happy places and places that make you feel happy. So my happy place is Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Now, in the news recently, Puerto Vallarta has been in the middle of a war between the Mexican government and the Mexican cartel, which is very, very upsetting. Now, I have spent 20 plus years going back and forth to Mexico, staying in all parts, all the way up the peninsula, Punta Mita, Sayulita, Bucerías, Nuevo Nayarit in the marina, all of those places. I have taken family vacations there. I've done girls' trips there. I have never, and I'm going to repeat that, never felt unsafe in Mexico. Actually, I was just there up until the Thursday before all this popped off. My phone was blowing up on Saturday morning because everyone was asking, was I okay? We were back home and we were okay. But I will say this, that watching some of the most beautiful ocean and beaches and towns and stuff on fire was very, very upsetting. I still have friends and people that I associate with that live there. So I've been in contact with them and they're doing okay. But I am so very overwhelmed. And I hope that one day soon I can go back there and enjoy the restaurants and the nightlife and the beaches and the people that I've met that work in the stores and stuff that I visit all the time. So my heart goes out to you, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And I hope that this rectifies itself soon and you can go back to the beautiful, peaceful paradise that you've always been. So that's my little shout out to Puerto Vallarta. I hope all of you have a happy place that you go to on a regular basis and spend time in and find joy in. Puerto Vallarta is mine. I know, in all the places of the world, but I'm happiest there. Okay, darlings. I just want to thank you for listening. Again, you can subscribe on Pandora, Audible, and Spotify. You can follow us on Instagram at Free of Fear Full of Joy, also YouTube. We're on TikTok as Free of Fear Full of Joy. And so, like I said before, we're starting something new. Again, what would Johari say? That's me, Johari Williams. What would Johari say? We would love for you to send me a message. They'll ask me on the podcast. And pretty soon, if we get enough, we'll do them live. We'll do them live. We'll stream them live on YouTube. We'll stream them live on TikTok. And I'll answer questions. Y'all could jump in the chat and ask me whatever. That would be amazing. You also can reach us through our website, which is freeofearfulofjoy.com. So please, reach out to us. I want to hear from you guys. And just a little preview of what we're going to be talking about next time is soft life versus hustle culture. I just want you to know that I have been both. I have hustled. If you go back to episode 1 of Johari's story, 5 jobs, 2 full-time, 3 part-time to support my kids, keep my house, all the things. And did it all. Hustled, keep my kids. My kids did great in school, all the things. And soft life. I met my husband. I was still working full-time. I got laid off at the first of the year. And he said, why don't you try focusing on the kids for a while? Why don't you take a step back from working? Amazing. Had a great time doing that too. I am currently working now and I'm doing this podcast, but I have insight on both of those. So we'll be talking about that. Soft life versus hustle culture. Pros, cons, how to do it, so on and so forth. And of course, a little more of what would Johari say. So ambition versus, just going where the universe takes you. There's that. So I'm going to close out the show. And this has been amazing to be back here with all of you darlings. I missed you. I hope you've missed me too. Now, just for our new people and a reminder to the people who have followed me from the beginning, at the end of the show, we say 3 times, free of fear, full of joy. Free of fear, full of joy. Free of fear, full of joy. Thank you, darlings. Thank you so much. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye. Hello, darlings, and thank you for listening to Free of Fear, Full of Joy. If you'd like to follow us, you can follow us on Spotify, Audible, or Pandora. You can also find us at Free of Fear, Full of Joy on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you. Bye, darlings.